Hello, everybody. I want to thank you for joining Compass Games Live. My name is John Kranz. Today is Thursday, July 19th. I want to thank you for joining us this evening. I don't know how many of you, for example, might be getting ready for the World Board Gaming Championships. It's going to be starting shortly, 21st to the 29th. Great event. Compass Games will be there. I hope you might be there as well. And that's why we're doing the broadcast tonight instead of typically we do Friday. But I know some people are already going to be traveling tomorrow, and I thought this would be a nice send-off for those going to WBC. Also, to let you know, and I'll send out a reminder, or I'll mention it at the close of today's session, that we will not be having a broadcast next week, again, because of the World Board Gaming Championships. People will be busy having fun in the middle of the conference, so we will meet again in about 2 weeks from today. But in the meantime, we have plenty of news to cover. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to share my screen so I can give you an update on our release schedule. That's the first thing I typically like to do, to provide an update as far as how our schedule is looking. Of course, we have some other big news today. We're going to be unveiling a brand new pre-order announcement. We'll be doing that later today. We'll be running a special offer as well, which I'll be announcing at the end as far as what that special offer is, and I'll be sharing you details on that. So that's probably the biggest news we're going to get into for today. Is we're going to debut a new pre-order item. We'll talk a little bit about that, and then we'll also end the session with a special offer in case you might be interested in that. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen now so we can take a look at the updated schedule. So let me go ahead and get ready to do that now. So you should see my screen showing up momentarily. And hopefully you'll see it here in a moment. I can't tell from the Facebook Live feed because it's always delayed. So I'm assuming you're now seeing my screen, which shows the home page. That's the Compass Games website. I also provide this exact same pipeline snapshot on the Consum World forum as well for the Compass Games company support folder. And you can see here, this was our schedule that we discussed last week. So basically what I'm going to do now is we're going to basically go through the changes to the schedule. So let me just refresh this page real quickly. So we do have an update. And you can see I just updated the page, and you'll see some new information's just come through. So basically what we've done is we now have fairly firm dates for our August releases. We have no less than 3 game releases for the month of August. So as you get back from WBC, if you're attending, you'll see that Russia Besieged Deluxe Edition. That's going to be shipping first on around August 10th. And then a project which I literally just finished just a few days ago. So a lot of the components, of course, were already printed, the box, the counters, the game cards, but I was working on the rules layout and some of the remaining player aid cards and the log sheet. So Night Fighter Ace, and I think this is a pretty conservative date. So August 20th will be the release date for Night Fighter Ace in August. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a chance perhaps it might move up. If we can, perhaps we'll be able to ship that a little bit early. Again, all the components are done, are at the printers now. So very excited about that. And then we're going to finish off the month of August with Lebensraum. That's a Steven Newberg design, was done many years ago by Simulations Canada. It's obviously an upgraded edition of the game, Lebensraum, and that will be again shipping end of the month of August. So we have links on all 3 of these games, and I'm actually going to spend a little time on Night Fighter Ace today. But if you're interested to learn more about Russia Besieged or Lebensraum, just click on the links you see here. We'll take you right to those pre-order pages for those August items. No change in the schedule as far as the month of September. September is really fully loaded. We've got 4 releases, including Paper Wars issue 90, which is the MacArthur game, which was originally done by Jack Green. We've got Europe in Turmoil, new release, Prelude to the Great War. We got War for the Union from Rob Bana, brand new edition of War for the Union by Rob Bana. And then we'll also touch upon Pacific Tide later during today's session as well. I did provide an update last week, but things have happened since last week, and we have more to show for Pacific Tide. So I'll be looking forward to doing that as well. And then we've listed some of the items that we're looking to see hitting first in the month of October. So again, a pretty strong clip going into August, actually averaging at least 3 titles per month. So I think it's great, that we have so much activity going on. Let's see here if there's any questions. Printers, those businesses still exist, George asked on Facebook Live. Yeah, actually, printers are pretty, that's a pretty critical area. If you think about what a publisher has to do, they have to try to get schedules together of projects, because when you work with printers, the more you can sort of gang print together, that helps for economies of scale. It's always an important factor. The one thing you can see from our schedule that helps us greatly is really the majority of our printing is all done in the US domestically. So obviously that the turnaround time, you don't have shipping, you don't have overseas freight shipping, sea freight, which takes weeks, etc. So that's why our schedule, you'll notice with our pre-orders, we like to say once a pre-order hits on our pre-order page, you'll see it released within a year, but sometimes we can do better than that. Sometimes we can ship as early as 6 months out once we pre-order. So obviously printing is very important, and there's a whole science behind it and finding the best printers and all that. So yeah, printers are very important for Compass, that's for sure. That's for sure, George. All right, so we've talked about any questions on the release schedule, let me know. I don't have any questions on the Zoom conference, no questions on Facebook that I can see. So it looks like you're all locked and loaded. You see what's coming. Also, don't forget, and we have a newsletter going out shortly to our customer base. This is pretty much the last chance to subscribe for Paper Wars, to get your Paper Wars subscription. So I'd really recommend, if at all possible, try to subscribe to Paper Wars. Sorry about that, because it's just a great opportunity. The price point's it's a very reasonable price point. And when we can, we'll put in some bonus counters for other games, not just the game we include, like MacArthur's will be the next game that we'll ship with Paper Wars 90 in September from Jack Green. But also, if we have bonus counters, or maybe there's a few errata counters, God forbid, we will look to get them in Paper Wars. And then we have a lot of articles and bonus materials, extra scenarios. I know Vance Van Boris has a bonus scenario for Forgotten Legions, which we recently just shipped. So there's a lot of good material in Paper Wars, and the price is really reasonable if you want to check it out. Also, just one thing real quickly here that I'd like to show is I always like to tease somebody online. So last week, a lot of great opportunities. We had a lot of Proud Monster Deluxe games going on. Don't know why, just I guess that summer time period in Russia was very exciting. So here's a photo I pulled off from Michael Valance. He tweeted this out on Twitter, and he did a great job. So that's why I'm sharing this. He did a great job. He obviously took time to lay out very neatly all the components, except for the dice maybe for Forgotten Legion. So you can see we've got the 2 maps for Bloody Karen. It ends up being about a full map and a half when you join it together. And then you've got the 2 full maps for Drive on Damascus, which is included because there's 2 games. And then he's got all the player aid cards. He's got the setup charts, the standard rules book that's shared between both games, and then the playbook as well. And then he's got the 2 different 5/8 inch counter sheets at the very end on the top right. I thought he did a great job for that angle. Yeah, I was really happy when I saw that he posted that. So if Michael Valance is out there, I want to say props to Michael Valance for getting a nice photo taken of his new delivery. So I really appreciate that he did that. So let's see if there's any quick questions here. Yes, I have 2 other pre-orders waiting for Night Fighter. So it sounds like looking forward to Hearts and Minds. Hearts and Minds will have a mounted map, so that's going to be shipping in Q1 of 2019. It's anything that's single map moving forward, in case you didn't hear it in an earlier broadcast. What we're doing is we're keeping the same price point, but we're upping the quality. So anything that's a single map, that's going to be a new game release, boxed game release, not Paper Wars, but a boxed game release. You will see it'll be a mounted map edition, which will be very nice. So we will have Hearts and Minds will be coming in first quarter of 2019. That was a question from Ralph Harper. When Night Fighter Ace, when will that start shipping? The pre-orders, it's going to ship sometime after WBC, because as you can see here on the schedule, Igor, that we're going to be shipping no later than August 20th. And I have a feeling, given everything's at the printers, if everything goes smoothly with the printers, we'll be able to maybe get some copies of Night Fighter Ace out earlier. But again, don't want to steal all my thunder on Night Fighter Ace. I will talk about that in a second. Walter McGovern's asking, is there a PDF rules book release for Russia Besieged and Laban's Realm? Not posted yet, not available yet. So obviously that's something I'm going to talk about today, because I am going to be unveiling the rule booklet for Night Fighter Ace here in a moment. So so that's something I'm going to be doing here in a moment. But yeah, I will be posting the PDF links, etc., online once we have them available. Typically we do it once the game ships. But for Night Fighter Ace, that's sort of the nice surprise for y'all. And a few people have asked, I'd like to have the rules to get a head start on Night Fighter Ace, and now you will. So I think you'll be happy. I think most of you will be happy to know you can get the rules in advance for Night Fighter Ace. And with all the time and attention and how we manage the projects, we don't see any risk of releasing the rules in advance, because the thorough editing job we do and the proofers, it's not going to be perfect maybe, because there's always errata, but we go in with full confidence. We don't show you anything that's not really ready for prime time, unless we're going to tell you that's not ready for prime time. So another thing I forgot to mention about WBC that's very important: how many of you are going to WBC by a show of hands? So I'd like to know. So if you're on Facebook live stream, it's going to be a delay, but if you're going to WBC, could give me like a +1. I'd like to know from all the people on Facebook how many are going to be heading down to WBC this year. For those obviously on our simulcast on Zoom broadcast, please let me know too. You can use the Q&A or the chat feature. So let me see here if we have any responses yet. Okay, so Maurice Fitzgerald's going to be thumbs up. He's at WBC. So looking forward to knowing that Maurice will be there. And again, I'll just watch the stream. It'll be good for everybody else to see maybe who's going to be going to WBC. Nice to see Jack Green. Hi, Jack. Nice to have you here on the live stream today. And of course, Jack gets headline billing for our Paper Wars 90 release, because we're doing his MacArthur game. That will be a new edition that's coming in Paper Wars 90. So that's a reason alone to subscribe, just to have a chance to get Jack Green's great title he did for Wargamer Magazine in a whole new edition. And very excited to be working with Jack on Fleet Admiral 2 Jutland as well, which is a designer edition project. So great. So I'll keep my eyes open if anybody else is going to WBC. So what I'd like to do now, since we talked about WBC, is make sure you stop by the Compass booth, please. We'll pretty much have everybody from Compass will pretty much be there. I'm going to miss out. I'm sorry I can't meet with some of you there, but Compass is extremely well represented. Of course, we'll have Bill Thomas, owner, and Ken Dingley will both be there in person at WBC, and Billy Thomas, who's really doing a lot for Compass. He always does the catalogs, and he's doing several game projects like Brotherhood and Unity, which is on our pre-order list, etc. So so we really hope that you'll be able to make it out to WBC. And if you do go to the Compass booth, on most items there, they will do a show special price of 30% off, which is like right around pre-order price, or maybe just a smidge better than pre-order price at 30% off. So not all, but most items. Just talk to the crew at Compass there, and let them give them feedback on the games you have from Compass recently. We really need your feedback. So when I talk to you in 2 weeks, I'm going to ask. I hope you had some interaction with Compass Games, because we want to hear from you. Hear what you think of the lineup, what's coming, what can we do better, etc. So we're very eager to meet with you. And again, apologies that I won't be there myself, having just come back from Compass Games Expo, but I'm looking forward to Consum World Expo rather, but I'm looking forward to Compass Games Expo. So just as a reminder, and I'm flipping the screen now to our Expo page, just like Consum World Expo, the same approach. This is a wholly owned Compass Games event, but it's, again, you can play anything, Euro games, any publisher's games. So Veterans Day weekend, November 9th through the 12th, we'll be at the Red Lion Hotel in Cromwell, Connecticut. They have a real nice space we're going to be using for the ballroom to fit everything, no problem at all. They have also, what's nice is an indoor heated swimming pool. So I think that'll be a nice refresher for those that want to take a break off the gaming tables. You can take a dip in the pool. We've got special events planned. So just to let you know, and we have special pricing on the room rates, but here's the special events we have planned so far. You can see what the dates are that these special events will be ongoing, and who the host will be of all these special events. We have quite a bit of playtesting going on as well. So we hope you can join us for that. I think there's going to be a lot of interest in some of our play tests, such as Don Johnson's Great Rebellion American Civil War monster game. Ernest Copley will be there with the War of Europe and the War Pacific, but he's doing the Total War, which is linking a play test of linking both those titles together. So that's going to be excellent as well. Of course, Adam Starkweather will be there. Other designers will be there. I'll be there as well. Look forward to seeing you all at Compass Games Expo. It's going to be a great event. We're going to have a lot of fun. But again, you can play any games you want. We're up to 53 attendees that are pre-registered. So we have a really good count already of pre-registered attendees. So very happy to see the turnout already. As far as the game sign-up sheet, that's been updated today. And just to let you know, we had a lot of people that have registered early, and they have really, I totally get this. You might not have any idea what you want to play yet because it's so far in advance. And that's not a problem at all. You can sign up anytime you want. You can change your game sign-ups anytime you want as well. And that's why we have the email addresses listed for nearly all participants. So you can contact people in case you see how people signed up for their games. You can see here we've got 3 columns. The first choice through the third choice of what everybody has picked so far. I'd say about 60% of everybody that's registered has already made some game selections. And what I've done here is if you see a green box with a box outline, that means you're going to have reserved table space with the name of the game, which is for you because you've got enough participants. If it's a blue box, it's one of those special events we're hosting, so that's going to have reserved table space as well. Might be used for drop-in special events as well. But I just want you to rest assured, if you're coming to this event, there's plenty of space. There's going to be no issues as far as we can't fit a game in the ballroom. What all this really means is you'll have reserved space in advance. You'll have assigned space in advance is all that means as far as what the color coding boxes means. But we have a nice lineup of games. You see also it's from multiple publishers as well that we have here listed. So again, really looking forward to a great event on November 9th through the 12th in Cromwell, Connecticut. So next thing I want to do, and again, we'll get to the special event at the end of today's session. I'm going to switch out of screen sharing mode just for a second, just to talk to you for a moment. So hi there again. So again, hope to see you at WBC. A lot of Compass will be there. Looks forward to seeing you. Want to give you an update on a few projects. I always like to do that. So we've done the release schedule update. I've already showed that to you. Now I want to talk about some things that are being worked on. So first of all, what I want to let you know is NATO is one of the big projects we're working on with Bruce Maxwell. It was published by Victory Games in the 80s. And that's an ongoing project. We were looking to start playtesting around now. I spoke with Bruce Maxwell, the designer, today, and he's sort of hit a treasure trove of a lot of additional Order of Battle research. And he really, with all the attention on NATO war games from the 80s, there's a lot of great games coming out right now just covering a NATO Warsaw Pact. He really wants to do a bang-up job with the Order of Battle research. So he's going to be spending more time just working on the Order of Battle. That's really going to be, and plus much more expanded designer notes and research notes are going to be part of this package. So the biggest takeaway from the new release of NATO will be that the Order of Battle research and the new research that he's uncovered, I think will be probably second to none for a game of this scale. He's shared some of the details with me already, and he's going to write up a very comprehensive piece all about what's evolved as far as all the new research and that's become available and published since obviously the fall of the Iron Curtain, etc. So, since the game was published as well. So that one's going to take a little bit longer. So I'm adjusting my own project pipeline for NATO, but it's all for a very good reason. And Bruce is going to be heads down for the next 2 months working on NATO. So if you're interested in being a playtester for NATO, we will definitely be looking to do that this fall. And I've already got people that I know are interested in NATO to be a playtester. We'll be doing Vassal. We're going to update the Vassal kit by adding all the new Order of Battle components, all the new counters, all the changed values, etc. Both ground and air forces, all of it's getting updated. And then the map's being enhanced as well. We're doing some improvements to the game map, and we're going to try to get that vassalized best we can as a playtest map. So just a quick update again, working very, very pleased with what Bruce is doing. And he's really, he could have said he was done already, but he is really whole hog on this whole research, and he really wants to hit a home run. It's his first time designing in some time, and he just wants to do a bang-up job, and he's really motivated and enthusiastic about just that. So we're looking forward to seeing an update on NATO. Probably, I'd say in the next 60 days, we'll have an update on NATO for you. Next thing I want to give you an update on is the Battle of the Bulge project. That's something we've been working on at Compass for the past several months with John Butterfield, and basically the concept is taking the Battle of the Bulge game, which was actually an app. It started as an app with Shenandoah Studios, Eric Lee Smith's venture, and he did a series of apps as well, did Moscow, did an African Alamein game by Mark Herman, etc. We have a Market Garden game planned as well. So it's taking the app version of the game and doing a full board game version of it. So some of you might be familiar with the app, the Battle of the Bulge app that was done by Shenandoah Studios. It's still available from Slitherine today as well. So it's definitely something you can easily check out online. But we're doing the board game version. What I'd like to do now is share with you, I'm going to share my screen again so I can show you some updates on that project. Compliments of Joe Youst, because Joe has been doing the artwork for Battle of the Bulge. So I've been working with Joe Youst, and I'm going to share with you the counters and the map updates that we have. I'm just going to show you the front sides. So here we have the American-British forces that I'm showing right now. And we've got a sneak peek. Somebody's got Greg, who's online there. So I think you can see Greg snuck on video somehow. That's okay. We're going to have you here for a good reason, Greg. But I've got Greg muted right now. So Greg, say something. Oh, no, you can't say. Oh, you're not even muted anymore. I don't know how you did that. You must have
It froze up and I had to come back in. So
you have superpower. So please welcome Gregory Smith. We're going to be using him for several things right when we wrap this one up. So what I'm showing here, and I can zoom in a little bit on screen, is we're showing the American and British forces. And again, these are oversized counters. Again, this will be a very nice production quality mounted game map, and very nice oversized counters as well. Notice there's also circular round counters as well for some of the markers. Here we see, and just so you'll know, the motif of the units, the silhouettes, the icons, that comes from the app. So in talking to John Butterfield, we wanted to capture sort of the flavor of the app. Joe Youst also added some more historical flavor by adding the historical insignias of the formations. So in the upper left-hand corner, we just went with a grayed out, black and white grayscale version of the historical unit insignias, because we didn't want to take too much focus away from the counters, from the values. But you can see there's the American Allied forces. We also have the German forces here, which of course will be very powerful in the game. Strong values, etc., some bonus values, strengths, etc. But again, so we're making very good progress. So the status as of right now for Bulge is we're doing the final proofing of the counter sheets. So there's 2 main counter sheets for the game. And also we have the game map is going through a final proof. So here, I'm going to have to enlarge this, but this is it's a full single size map. It has a little bit of a different dimension. It's not 24 by 36. It's slightly different, but a nice mounted map. And I'll zoom in here just so you can get a little more detail. Hopefully it renders. I know it will render well with HD quality once I have this recorded. And obviously what I'm seeing right now in PDF and Acrobat is very, very good quality right now. It's probably close to 200 DPI resolution, but you can see here some of the detail of the Battle of the Bulge map. You can see here it's really gotten to a stage now where we're really doing final proofing for the game map. So again, this is one we're excited about. This is one I haven't talked about in a while, but we've had a very active playtest group. We've done a lot of playtests. We've made some changes based on the playtest results. It was very helpful to John Butterfield. I even hosted privately a playtest session using this internet conferencing, web conferencing software via video between John Butterfield, one of our playtesters, and that was a really valuable session. So again, we're really excited about the Bulge game. We're trying to wrap it up. Obviously, we want to get this released. It's going to be first half. I would assume first half of next year is when we'll have this released. But again, you can see with the components that we're making very good progress with this game. So I'm glad, Jonathan. Thanks, Jonathan, for the kind comments about the game map I'm showing right now. And Ty knows the app. He's played the app out of the bulge. It's also available, I should have said, on the Steam network. If you go to the Steam network, which is popular for video games, you can find Battle of the Bulge on the Steam network as well. So that's a popular place to find it as well. Shenandoah was sold. So Eric Lee Smith, the question was, what happened with Shenandoah Studios? That was sold by Eric Lee Smith to Slithering. So Slithering took over Shenandoah Studios and the apps, but the license to the doing a tabletop board game version was retained. So we were able to work with Eric Lee Smith and to get the just for the board game version, obviously, not the app at all. So that's what we're working on here, as you can see here. So I think it's going to be a really nice final product when it comes out. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna switch, and since we have Greg here, we're gonna talk about some projects, Greg, that you've been working on. So let me go back here, and what I want to talk about first with you, Greg, is we're going to talk about, let's see here, we're going to talk about Pacific Tide very quickly. And actually, I'm looking at Facebook right now, and I don't see you showing up on the Facebook stream. I only see you myself. So let me make sure that you are actually live. So no, you show, okay, let me see. Oh, I know why. I know why it's doing that. It switches, you will appear once you start talking. I forgot how the software works. So go ahead and say hello, Greg. And
well, hello, everybody. Glad to be here. I'm excited. I'm really excited because I'm going to WBC tomorrow.
We're going to WBC tomorrow, which is another reason why we wanted to move the session up to today, so we can talk about Pacific Tide. So, but
this is actually really kind of an interesting game from the several viewpoints. Number one is it's in fact a sequel that's being printed before the main game. A friend of mine named Mitch Ledford came up with this. I thought was just a brilliant card play system. It's not, I've never really seen anything like it before. A little bit like Paths of Glory, except for the fact that as each year goes by in the war, and of course this game is just immensely strategic. I mean, each turn is 1 year of the war, 41 through 45. But of course, a turn consists of 10, 11, 12 card plays per side. Yeah. So, it's a little bit longer than you would think, only being quote unquote 5 turns long. But the really neat thing is the rebuy system, in so much that you sort of build your own deck. You build your hand for the next year based on your production. You get the current year's cards for free, but you rebuy cards from the previous years based on what you need or what you think you need.
Yeah, the concept of a rebuy is
a really slick system for doing it, and it just, all the testers have just loved it so far, and it's done really well. And so we took it and polished it up, and we're getting there. I hope it's going to be played a long time.
Yep, that sounds great. Yep, oh, absolutely. And like I've mentioned to everybody, I don't even have to do a big, I don't think I have to do a big effort to help sell the game and all you've done with it, because the pre-order numbers have been tremendous so far for this game.
Oh, and, well, that's good to hear.
The artwork's been great. I actually showed the map last time, so I'm just going now to show the game. I'm just showing quickly here the game map. So this is something that I shared last week with everybody. So they've seen that.
I think the kind of neat thing about it is, it looks deceptively simple. I mean, it's a small map.
Yep, it's a half-size map. It's a half-size 17 by 22.
There's not many, there's not huge tons of billions of counters or anything, but it sort of reminds me personally of Paths of Glory, in so much that you've got to really think about, do I want to play this card now, or do I want to play it later? Or, sequencing of how you do things matters a lot. And so that basically is going to provide you with a lot of hopefully agonizing choices and decisions on how to progress and react to your opponent. And it is huge difference on what card gets played first.
Right. And then I know you had some great
decide to do that.
I know you had some great playtest sessions during Consum World Expo in late June, but what I'd like to do now is I want to unveil the counter sheet. So this is being finalized, and again, pretty straightforward. The markers are important to note, progress during the war. There's movement of the fleets, the armies, etc. I'll let you give a quick. We haven't talked about the counters before, Greg, because we've never been able to show them. So why don't you spend?
They're sort of like money, or I guess I'd say change. 3 infantry is the same as having a 2 and a 1. A 5 is the same as having a 3 and a 2. So it's just for convenience mainly, but there's both land-based air and naval-based air, and they have there's some differences there. Obviously, your big bombers are more the land-based air, obviously, and the fleets are just basically a conglomeration of a whole lot of ships. The carriers, a point of carriers is really a couple of small, like escort carriers, whereas or one point would be, say, a fleet carrier.
So
carriers are a little bit smaller, but they're obviously carry your huge offensive potential, which is your naval-based air.
So I have a few people on Facebook Live that are asking you, Greg. They have questions for you. They want to know if you will have any type of a demo or be able to play it at WBC this coming week. If you're going to have.
I already have it packed in the car.
All right, there you go.
As a matter of fact, I have the cool map too. I went down to Staples and got it printed off. So
great.
I won't have the sexy counters here. You'll have to use my homemade counters. But I got the cool map. So yes, I'm going to demo this for whoever wants to play it. As a matter of fact, we played it at WBC last year. John, a friend of mine, had a lot of good comments and
great.
Improved it quite a bit since last year. But yes, I'll be demoing this along with Night Fighter Ace at WBC for whoever's interested. You just got to hunt me down. I usually hang out in the Grognard room, which is like where they play Russian Campaign and Africa Corps and Waterloo and all that kind of stuff. So
all right. Well,
it wouldn't be too hard to find me out.
All right, great. So I'll wrap this portion up. So again, a recap on Pacific Tide for everybody. So again, this is one we just introduced on pre-order probably. I think we introduced it on pre-order less than 2 months ago. As far as how quickly we're able to get this game out, which I think is one of the strengths of Compass Games, is when a game, like you said, you've been working on it for years, so obviously the game design's complete. Although we made one decision to add a solitaire bot system to it, with the personalities, if you want to play it solitaire as well. But the good news here is this game, the game cards are at the printers already. The maps and counters are about done, and we're just going to finish up the box packaging. So the good news for everybody is we're on schedule to have a release of this game in September of this year. So we're only talking about 10 weeks from now. So we're going to make quick order of getting the last components printed. We got to get the box finalized.
I got to proof the counters yet too, but I'm pretty sure Ilya got them all.
So this is coming together quickly, and I hope everybody's excited about it. And it's actually a big success. It's one that was so far along. We were able to pull the trigger on this one quite quickly, and I think it's great that we could get this out within 6 months of when we announced it on pre-order. So that's a little bit about Pacific Tide. Now I want to talk about what my life's been busy doing lately. And as you all know, in my last episode, I had ink all over my hands because my printer died, and I was in the middle of Night Fighter Ace rules and printing every few hours to proof, and I'm like, oh my God, my printer died. So the great news is I'm spoiled. I'm very spoiled. I bought myself a brand new HP printer. So I had to run out and buy it last week because I got to get the game. I got to get this project done. I had to have a printer that works so I could proof properly. So the good news here, or the exciting news here, is Night Fighter Ace is officially a wrap. It's going to be released and shipping on August 20th. Maybe even sooner than August 20th. We'll see what happens. But what I want to share with everybody now is, as I mentioned today, we're unveiling the rules booklet. So if you want to download and look at the rules now, that is now done, going to the printer. So under the rules, errata, and downloads section, if you go to the Night Fighter Ace page, you can go ahead and click on this link, and I'll just share this with you all for a moment here. So this came out really nicely, Greg. It came out to 28 pages, but you had very extensive historical notes, etc. So the amount of rules, plus with some of the illustrations, the amount of rules probably averages 14 to maybe 15, 16 at most. So just to walk everybody through the roles here, we've got obviously a very simple table of contents, the introduction. I like to walk people through the major components in the game. I don't show every individual player aid card. That would be a little crazy. But we show the key components being the aircraft display, operations map, the pilot and crew status map. And just to give everybody an elevator pitch, why don't you give a quick 30-second elevator pitch on what Night Fighter Ace is and what game system it models after. So Greg, why don't you give a quick, give a little elevator pitch on what's this game system based on and what it's covering.
It's pretty well known that I took the Hunter system. Basically, I was inspired by B-17 Queen of the Skies. And I've always been in love with Night Fighters, and it seemed to me that, you know what, let's just make the go full circle with the design and go back to the skies. Except instead of being the bomber, you're hunting the bombers. So the reason it works so well for solitaire is because the British, what you want to have is the player being able to make decisions, but his enemy is sort of forced in this case, the British bomber stream is heading towards a target city. You don't know which one initially, but you find out and you go hunt them down. So it's basically a solitaire. You're in command of just a single Night Fighter, and you're trying to build your career and also your skills and build the skills of your crew, and you're trying to stay alive as you go through mid-1943 to mid-1944. And those years were chosen because it's kind of, the battle was on the, before that, there wasn't that much going on in 41, whatever. And then after that, after mid-44, it was just kind of a slaughter. So, and not for the Germans. They were the more of the targets at that point. So 43 to 44 was a really good middle zone, and that's why I chose that for the game. And it's just basically the Hunter's system applied to Night Fighters. Yeah. And the construct works amazingly well.
I just think
it's fun. So
anyway, you scared me because I don't like setting high expectations, and I always feel like that's the wrong thing to do. But literally, you told me this game has the best play narrative you've done yet as a design. You said it's better than the Hunters. I'm like, better than the Hunters. I'm like, I don't know if you want to say that. No, I don't. That's really
time will tell. But it's a neat game. I've always loved Night Fighters. I have probably over 5 years of research went into this game. It has a very strong historical basis for everything.
Yeah.
And it works. And it's not so tedious either. I mean, you can, the thing that really made this game was the fuel consumption. I mean, I had created a paper version of this game 20 years ago. Embarrassing to say that, but true. And I tracked fuel hex by hex, and it was painful. It was hideous. Yeah. And once I actually broke the code on, if I group the Night Fighter bases together and I group the targets kind of together, then I can know how much fuel is going to be kind of burned more or less in the good ballpark. And so once the fuel consumption gets tracked, but the player doesn't have to hassle with it. So you can run I'll just say a patrol. You can run a sortie, a Night Fighter sortie, go shoot down 2-3 bombers, hopefully, maybe more, maybe less, 10, 15 minutes.
Okay, well, let me...
It's got that kind of do 1 or 2 turns, and you can put it away if you have to. So it does have that going for it.
All right, I'll walk people through this. Just let everybody know the displays and the counters and the cards were done by Terry Lee. Terry Leeds is our artist for this job. There's 16 aircraft display mats, but there's actually 32 because it's double-sided. There's 32 aircraft models, so a lot of history, a lot of aircraft packed into the box. I love the pilot and crew status mat, which is shown here. It gives you an idea of the play narrative because obviously Terry Leeds researched photos back from that era, what they looked like, and even down to the little photo of the girl, the lady there. So I thought a very creative approach to sort of build that narrative that
Terry did awesome work. Yeah, he really did.
Yeah, so a few more information. So I just go through the various types of markers in the game. We've got, obviously, it tells a narrative. You're a pilot, so your career in terms of officer rank, promotion, earning awards, etc., NCO rank as well. All that's covered here. What's really nice also is all the crew skills that can be attained as well. And of course, we have those always nasty random events that can just sneak in on you as well. So,
Some
again,
of them are good.
Yep. So as you can see, overall game setup, you start with your base and aircraft selection, standard sequence of play, talk a little bit about how you conduct the sorties using the operations map to help track everything. And then the bulk of the system's really around interception and combat. But it's not too complicated, so we didn't get overburdened with a lot of illustrations here. We do have some examples in here, text examples, which actually I think do a great job of explaining what's happening. But we do have some recaps here of how to use the bomber mat example, how to use the bomber mat for combat, how to use the aircraft display to track condition of your aircraft and crew as well. So all this is covered in the rules with some nice summary examples here. We then go through the crew injury that can happen, the actual debriefings. The debriefings when you get those skills, promotions, awards, etc. after a certain number of sorties, which we all cover here. And I provide markers. I try to provide a marker for every single attribute of what the marker is, so it's very visual in terms of presentation. That's something I like to do, to be as visual as I possibly can. And then just to round out the package, we give a log sheet example of what the sortie log would look like. So basically we run through 5 possible sorties on the sortie log that's been completed. Thanks, Greg, for doing this. By the way, you had filled this out for me. So we give a good recap on how you would basically note how you'd be playing the game.
Team effort, brother.
Yep. Then optional rules for, again, it's solitaire game, but you can do it multiplayer, whether it's cooperative or competitive play. Same as the Hunter's game system. I believe Raiders of the Deep, same idea, same construct. I like the fact you brought in pilot fatigue as an optional rule. And I've never seen a tagline like this: extremely optional rule, the assassination of Adolf Hitler. So there is a story behind that, because you tell the story right here, I can see. But yeah, very interesting that you threw that optional rule in at the end. Any care to comment on that?
I would be interested to hear who the first person is to assassinate Hitler using that rule. That'll be fun.
Okay, and then I don't want to just blow past the ace pilot cards. It's optional, but one of the nicest things in terms of the historical value of this game is we have 40 ace pilot cards. It's optional, but you've got 40 of the top German ace pilots with full information, full career statistics, how many kills, what they flew, what equipment they flew, and every model they flew, and what their capabilities are. Even you went ahead and you mapped it towards the actual play capabilities in terms of the game system, and how they sort of history comes together in terms of the game system. So there's 40 of these cards just for them. There's also 60 combat cards for the game, but very, very impressive. Very impressive are the ace pilot cards. We only did maybe 8 or so in like Hunters or Raiders of the Deep. We had 8 cards. Here we've got 40. Here we've got 40 cards. And also just want to compliment you, Greg, that the historical notes for those looking for historical value, which is showing through in the components and in the research. There's also this is sort of where you sort of put your you prove it. You sort of put your best foot forward and do the historical notes. You go through the whole history of the campaign. You actually keep your designer notes quite short, because really it's the historical notes that you really focus on here. So as you can see here, I'm scrolling through multiple pages of just the historical, and again, the history plays into the game. So it makes sense that you covered so much of the history, because all this history is showing up pretty much in the game. So we've got the electronic systems that were used, and then you go through every individual aircraft model. So starting on page 22 in the middle there, aircraft, we've covered the radar, the electronic systems. We go through literally every aircraft model, which is also pictured at the bottom right. We have sometimes we showed one illustration of a common model. Maybe it was 4 or 5 variations of a single model. We just show a single model, even though there might be 4 named variations of that model. But we show literally every plane there is sort of summarized there on the bottom of page 23. But they're covered in your historical notes, which again continues here, and then it ends with a nice sidebar on the top 5 German night fighter aces that were involved in the campaign. And what I did here is I just took a snapshot of the historical information about their career, which shows up on the card itself, on the ace card itself. So this is literally just a snippet of the ace card that comes in the game, because it basically talks about their career, although you add some more detail and background about it. And then finally, the counter sheets, front and backs, just so people know once they've punched the units. I always like to provide counter sheet images for the one counter sheet. And then a very comprehensive rules index, because people are going to need to find things perhaps. So we cap it off with a nice rules index. So I hope everybody is giving it a thumbs up, that they see some blood, sweat, and tears went into the rules layout, because it's so important to us. We want people to love the quality of
and all you people listening out there, John Krantz busted his butt on the rules layout and the charts too. So big call out to John. Thank you.
It was a lot of fun. So
I appreciate it. Wow.
All right. So now I'm going to switch. I'm going to stop sharing the screen because we have a huge announcement to make. A big announcement. We're getting to the crescendo of our discussion. So I'm going to stop sharing just so we can be on video here and everybody can see us in bigger. So hi again, everybody. So this is for me the most exciting part of doing these broadcasts, is when we can introduce whether a game's shipping or perhaps we can introduce a brand new project. So what I'm going to do here is I have to actually go to the Compass website and actually turn on the page. So that
if you want to say a bad word, now's the time to do it. Oh, here we go.
So effectively now, we're finally, after that weird instance, we are introducing a new game using the Hunter system called Zeppelin Raider, Imperial German Naval Warship. So let me... Airships, showing the cover here that we've selected for it. So why don't you while I'm showing the cover here, why don't you tell us about your new design?
Well, I realize you can't swing a dead cat without hitting 100 Bulge games and 100 Zeppelin games. And I know all you guys have all kinds of Zeppelin games stacked up, but no, seriously, I just always have been fascinated by them. And again, I realize that you've got a situation here where the Germans are sending their Zeppelins to London and to England to bomb the different cities. And it's sort of a one-sided situation where they go and try to survive and do their mission and they come home. And so it occurred to Paul O'Grady, who's a captain in the Royal Australian Navy, of all things, a friend of mine who helped me out on Silent Victory. And he was like, dude, you've got to do Zeppelins with the Hunters. And the more I thought about it, I thought, this will work. And the more I researched it, and by the way, if you don't have this book and you're interested in Zeppelins at all, The Zeppelin in Combat by Douglas Robinson, run, don't walk, and go buy one. It's an amazing book. Everything you ever wanted to know about Zeppelins. But there was over 177 sorties by naval Zeppelins on England. It's just stunning, the effort that they put into these Zeppelins in World War I. I had no idea. I was just blown away. So the more I researched it, the more I realized, this is going to be kind of neat. I'm ex-Army. I retired. I have a couple combat tours in Iraq. I'd like to think I'm as brave as the next guy. Well, I don't know if I have the kind of bravery it takes to fly into combat on 500,000 cubic feet of flammable gas. Just unbelievable. So these guys were really something. Oh. And it's just a really fascinating and really underrepresented area, I feel, of what, talking about, everybody's got 100 Zeppelin games. Obviously, I was just joking there. I think there's only like 2 that I can think of that have been done previously. So again, I think the Hunter system applies really well. I hate to beat the dead horse here and keep using it, but the system works well and it applies. I think it'll be
right. And I'm really pleased we were able to welcome Olivier Revenue to the Compass team, who's doing the artwork for the game. So maybe we can talk about the Zeppelin displays. So we have 8 of them, and they're beautiful. They're not done yet. They're not final. But I think everybody on Facebook Live and in our webcast right now, hopefully this is coming through okay for you, because the quality of the artwork that has happened here has been another home run. This is another reason why I'm really excited about this project, is because you can just look at certain projects and you can just tell how the play narrative is going to play out and build just based on the components alone.
And we're covering 8 different classes of Zeppelin, so basically all the major classes. This is just the naval Zeppelins. Army Zeppelins is another. They preferred Chute-Lanza, whereas the Navy kind of more went almost strictly with the Zeppelin brand. They had a couple Parseval and Bossenach, but anyway, all that aside, just 8 different main classes of Zeppelin. This is an S-class, a height climber. It was a technological arms race also, because they had to keep going higher so that the British aircraft wouldn't be able to shoot them down. So it was just as, the better aircraft, well, we need a better Zeppelin. And so it was just kind of a fascinating from the arms race standpoint as well. And of course, their capabilities got better and better as the war progressed.
And I think I don't know how many people out there, with a show of hands, how many people might own or have seen played the Hunter, Silent Victory, Raiders of the Deep, etc. This type of aircraft, this type of display should be very familiar to you if you're familiar with any of those games. And then you can see we got the crew on the left, we've got the skills on the top right. And then, of course, everything's unique to this system. We've got the gas cells, the gondola damage, the fuel, ballast, altitudes.
Yeah, altitude is life. It's also modeling dynamic lift and a few other things. But the thing it was kind of interesting figuring out how did they actually do these when they actually had them balanced out on the ground. I mean, one guy could push it around. That's how perfectly balanced they made these things. But, bottom line is you don't want to run out of ballast, and you definitely don't want to run out of altitude.
Yeah, and here's the X class from late July. So this is near the end.
1980. This is their last. Yeah. This is L-70 was X class that the commander Peter Strasser fell to his death in, flaming over England in 1918, just before the end of the war. But yeah, this was the most advanced Zeppelin that they had, basically. All
right. So I hope people appreciate, the artwork. I think you're really going to enjoy the artwork for this game, just the components. So just imagine, if you will, try to suspend the thought of what the displays look like, because now I'm going to show you the counters that go on the display. And they really are, again, just a beautiful rendering of the actual, hardware or whatever's being portrayed here. You've got the biplanes at the bottom. Got the weather markers. You can see here just a lot of great imagery, which again, this will all be pretty much on the. Most of this will be showing up on those displays, Zeppelin displays. So I hope you can see the combination of. It's funny. Somebody's asking for a Black Sunday expansion. They want to see this at Soldier Field or something. Yeah, bring this to modern day. We'll do, maybe for Paper Wars, we can do a Soldier Field. Maybe we can do a Black Sunday for Paper Wars. Wouldn't that be a kick? That would be sort of fun, wouldn't it? That would be something crazy. But I like people's humor on Facebook Live. The great ideas out there. So yeah.
Pre-order and pay later button is missing from Zeppelin Raider.
Oh, it is? Okay, it should be active. So, and as a matter of fact, I think I've got the naming wrong on the page. I think it says naval warships, not airships, or something might be off in the URL, itself. So I'm going to fix that. But really, the main point for today was just to be, very excited that we can announce a new project. As people can see here, the displays, there's the total of 8 Zeppelin displays for the 8 models depicted, the counter sheet. A lot of the work's already been done. It's wrapping up now. There's still more work to do, obviously. It's been...
I would like to mention, I had a blast researching this game. Yeah. And for me, that's most of the reward really is not monetary. I just had so much fun looking, finding out about an area of history that I just knew very little about.
Yeah,
but it is a fascinating story on the Zeppelins, and I think will be a good game.
Okay,
I'm excited for it.
I'm sure it will be, and I hope everybody likes what they see. So what I'd like to do next is, again, just invite everybody to the product page. Like I said, we might, if the pre-order now, pay later is missing, which it is missing here, I'll try to find out how we can bring that back. I got to fix the title, naval airships, not warships, obviously. So we'll fix those errors. Not a big problem, but the price, you can see the pre-order price is set. We just have to make sure everything's working properly. So again, really excited. We're keeping Greg very busy, as you can see, everybody. He's got Night Fighter Ace. It's going to ship any second. We've got Pacific Tide wrapping up. Now we've got Zeppelin Raider that's going through pre-production right now. And maybe there's other stuff we're doing that we can't talk about right now. We just can't talk about it.
And in my defense, I'm not a total lunatic. Well, not a total lunatic. I might be a lunatic. But a lot of these games have been I've worked on for years and years. But now that I've become associated with Compass, I've finally gotten my opportunity. And I'm very actually thankful for Compass, because their support has been unreal. The artists have been top notch, just quick and efficient and beautiful work. And the editing help from John and others has just been Compass has just been great to work with, and with. And I am just thankful to be part of the Compass team. So
appreciate that.
That's no BS either. That's just the way to.
I appreciate that. And obviously it's the customers. We want the customers to get excited about Compass. I just saw a posting on Facebook or on a blog last week, somebody discovering Compass games for the first time and trying to figure out the products and what they offer. So obviously, we're very excited about what we're able to bring to market now, and our release pipeline schedule is very exciting. But we're always looking to do better. We're always gonna, we'll make mistakes, but we'll always try to do better and learn from our mistakes. And with that, Greg, you're welcome to stay on if you like. I'm just going to wrap up today's broadcast by again.
Any questions for me, maybe, before I shut up?
Let's see. There's a lag here, but I'll look for questions. Somebody was asking, is there a Michael York Elkie Summer counter? So I don't see any other questions yet. Let me go check on the. Let me check the Q&A on the chat. Let me check the chat for our webcast.
Okay. Right.
Let's see
that's
here.
Fine. Just thought
I think we're good. I think we're good. Yeah, we just have to fix the pre-order. Some people have been commenting already. I can't pre-order and pay later, so we have to get that taken care of. And I apologize to everybody. We'll get that fixed. I promise we'll get that fixed for you all. We're just excited to share with you one of Greg's newest designs, and we're really pleased with how it's already coming together. And we really hope this is a pre-order announcement you've really enjoyed. And with that, I want to close with a special offer for being on the broadcast today, and this will run through this weekend. I think we'll probably open it up and make it available for others as well. Since Zeppelin Raider is a World War I Great War themed game, we've decided to run a special for the next few days, especially for those not at WBC, because if you're at WBC, you can get those specials at the Compass booth. But if you're not, if you're sitting at home like I'm going to be, you can get 30% off all our Great War themed games. So basically, I'll go through them now. Let me go through that really quickly. So we've got Balance of Power. So I'll go through each title that is now available for 30% off, and I'll give you the coupon code for that for the online store. So we've got Balance of Powers, 30% off. Also Empires and Alliances. That's that Rob Bama's new edition and sort of new imagining of the famous Avalon Hill game that was done moons ago, Guns of August. So a lot of people have been playing this. I saw a posting on Empires and Alliances the other day. It's a nice big friendly monster game. Rules are pretty straightforward, so that's 30% off right now. We've got Fatal Alliances at 30% off, The Great War. It's another game. And then Greg will be very pleased to see this. For those that missed the chance, and it's been selling extremely well, we have Raiders of the Deep back at 30% off. So again, this is not the price you would pay today. You'll get 30% off Raiders of the Deep, and then great that you can have Raiders of the Deep, and then you'll have Zeppelin Raiders soon, so you can double down on the Great War era nicely. And then we have that great design of Red Poppy's campaigns. We've got the first volume of Red Poppies, and we've got volume 2, which came out earlier. Those are both available at discount. And just for kicks, because it's so close, the date's so close, and I sort of worked on it, so I wanted to sneak it in. I want to give some love to Red Star White Eagle. So I know it's 1920, So the purists are probably egging me right now.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah, they're heckling me online. Everybody's heckling me. But hey, it's a great game. This is like, you got to look at Red Star White Eagle from GDW, set it up, and then put our version next to it, and you'll be blown away. The difference between the two games is phenomenal, and literally no errata in the game to speak of at all. I mean, just a clean, polished, awesome game. People are still picking it up, but now you can pick it up for 30% off. So the way you get any of these titles is you go to the Compass online store, you select one or more, they're all eligible, you can just order one or more, and just enter the coupon code Great War 30. I guess you get the sort of thematic tie-in there. 30% off all our Great War era games plus Red Star White Eagle. Just type that in and you'll get your discount. And again, just a reminder that we'll go ahead and update. We'll get pre-order pay later working for Greg's game, Zeppelin Raider. So we'll have that up for a while, and you can already check out the artwork. We've got some of the artwork up there. Just as a reminder for everybody, and then I'll take some, well, let me take questions first. So let me see here. I have a bunch of questions here. So any PDF rulebook releases for Russia Besieged? I answered that one. Lebensraum, not yet, but I'll post the rules as soon as they're available. Vietnam, Blue Water Navy, and Stellar Horizon, any release information? They're not. So as you know, on the release schedule on the Compass website, it's a 90-day window of what I show that's going to be released within 90 days. You'll always see what's coming within 90 days. We do have a bunch of mounted map titles coming out in Q1 and Q2 next year as well. So we don't have any dates set right now for, I think Stellar Horizon actually is supposed to make a debut at Gen Con 2019. So Gen Con 2019 should be the debut release date for Stellar Horizon. We're still waiting for updates on Blue Water Navy and Vietnam. I know Adam, I believe Adam's at WBC. He might have an update since he's still working on that project as well. So that was a question from Walter McGovern. So I hope that helps. Let's see here. So Simon says his bank balance is going to take a hit again. That's okay. That's actually part of the crew. Like Greg has crew status in his games, right, Greg? You have skills, you have crew status. We're going to do a special edition of Compass Game customers. We're going to call it the buyer status, the customer status, what their bank account's at, what special skills they have for budgeting or spoiling their significant others so they can purchase extra games. Or maybe their timing effects. Maybe they join our broadcast and get discounts by putting up with me for a few minutes and our special guests when we have them. So maybe we'll do a whole skills profile display mat of our Compass Games custom.
My strategy is to buy a smaller tombstone. So
there we go. And then the exciting news is, it's in the works. We're wrapping it up. We're gonna have Euro friendly shipping. So most people who want to buy direct or pre-order direct, customs kills you. We get it. We know it's a big problem. We have a solution. We have a great solution. We're going to be rolling out for those that are overseas, those that are watching this recorded broadcast. We are going to have a Euro-friendly shipping option that will be announced soon. So we're really excited about that as well. So again, that's okay. So it looks good there. Oh, we need to add a volunteer to clean horse stall counter. Walter McGovern says for that customer display, we need to add a volunteer for cleaning out horse stalls. I think that's a good idea. So let's see what other questions we have here. I'm just going at Facebook Live. Thanks for all for everybody joining Facebook Live. So I'm just looking through any planned expansion for the Goodyear Blimps and the football. Everybody wants a Black Friday or the Soldier Field version, Greg. We'll have to talk about that for Paper Wars or something, doing a Black Sunday expansion. Everybody wants a Black Sunday expansion, it looks like. Let's see. Grant Kleinhens is sharing that Greg's done an interview on Zeppelin Raider, and we should be posting in the next few weeks. So I know you've worked with Glenn.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, Grant, with Grant. Sorry, you've worked with Grant Kleinhens, and you'll have an interview that will be online here pretty soon.
Grant's devilish, man. He was like, he goes, "Oh, will you interview?" And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, sure." I figured, any publicity is good publicity. So yeah. He sends me 25 questions, and I'm like, well, these aren't like yes, no, 6, up, down. These are like, what's the nature of the universe? and how does your game design fit into it? So he's a devilish one, but yeah, no, Grant, I did I think 30 questions for Zeppelin Raider. So
Great.
that
Wonderful.
I'm excited to see that myself, actually.
And we got some other comments. I know Cole mentioned here he's actually liked the work Ian Wedge did on Hunters, but I hope you'll still be satisfied, Cole, with it's a different look, a little bit thematic look, Great War period. It is different looking, and you know how artwork is. It's just like any design rules in a game. Some people, they have games they swear by, and others. There was a big discussion on the Consum World forum in the last about 2 weeks ago about designer signature edition. Why do these older games with the IGO system? They're dated and nothing as good as current day. But then you look online, you've got these huge topics and fan websites for like Russian campaign and older games from the 70s. It's like we totally get it. Like there's no way Compass or any publisher can expect they're going to hit a home run with every product, every component of a product. It's like it will never happen. It doesn't mean we're happy. It doesn't mean we discount the fact that maybe somebody likes a certain look more, because we always want to learn from customers. But it gets a little tough with artwork and things like that, because frankly, there's always differing opinions about what's better. If even for the box art design, Greg, for Zeppelin Raider, there was some back and forth between two styles. And we're in a creative business, and in a creative business, you're going to have people that really give it the thumbs up, and while others might say, could have been this or that. But we're going to always try our best. So Cole, we're always going to do our best. I promise you that. And I'll be with my serious hat on, working on the components and everything that has to be done for that project. So we're just looking to make sure we service you guys, because if we don't service you guys, you're not going to decide to be loyal to Compass as a customer, and you're not going to come back, and we don't want that to happen, right? So we're gonna always try our best, and we as you can see here, we'll talk about critical feedback. Anybody has things to say that we need to look to do better on, absolutely not a problem. We totally want to have that relationship with you, and we're happy to have you. So let's see if there's any final questions here. Comment about Empires and Alliances at 30% off. Jonathan says looks good. Too many games to play. Hey, if you're a member of Consum World, you can never use that line, Jonathan. You gotta park that comment. Too many games to play, too many games to buy. That is not allowed. Not allowed on these wavelengths. You know that because of Consum World. We always, that's been going on for over 20 years now. So yeah. Again, more comments about Black Friday is an interesting scenario. People would like to see something done tongue-in-cheek. Zeppelin attacks against Walmart, Greg, is another one, just to let you know. So, and Mikhail, yes, Euro-friendly shipping will be coming. So yes, for those in Europe, definitely. And thanks for your comment again, Cole. So again, just like Cole, I want to give a hat tip to Cole. Cole was a brave guy. He made a comment, somewhat critical, and I love that he did that. And I want to ask people, when you go to WBC, don't just, if you say you appreciate what Compass Games is doing, that's great for us to hear. Makes us feel better, right? We're human beings. But if there's something we can do better at, hold us to it. Hold us accountable, because we're only going to get better if we get pushed. And I know it happened recently. There was I don't know if the game was called Blitz or something else, or Empires, but there's a game that had people complain the counters are too big, the map's too small, please fix it. And we are going to fix it. We're going to do a new edition of this game with, and we're looking at the map and counters right now, how to do that better. So we get it. We're going to make mistakes. We totally understand that, but we're not going to shy away from doing the best we can, and we'll get better, and we'll get better through you guys. So again, just to close, I think I'm going to close here. I just want to say we'll be back in 2 weeks. We're going to wait 2 weeks because WBC, we think a lot of people are going to have fun at WBC, have a great time. Please drop by the Compass booth. Again, 30% off most items. Please see Gregory Smith. Greg, thanks for joining us today. Please see Gregory. He's going to have Pacific Tide there. He can talk to you about Zeppelin Raider. He can talk
I'll have a working copy of Zeppelin Raider there as well. So I'm bringing demos of Night Fighter Ace, Zeppelin Raider, and Pacific Tide. So hunt me down. I'll be more than happy to join you.
Absolutely. So again, everybody, really appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to join us for these broadcasts. I will do a fully edited HD version of this broadcast, which will cut out or I had troubles earlier today trying to get the web page to display. So I will be able to edit that out, so we'll have a very clean version. And then I will work on getting the web page fixed for the pre-order now, buy later. And I think we just have to polish the title a little bit and URL. We have to make a tiny tweak to that. So again, Greg, we're really excited about Zeppelin Raider. We're very excited to introduce that to everybody. I know you'll be making a big push about it at WBC, and another great game from Compass on a great game system. It's going to be a great success, and again, it's a pleasure having you join us today, and we look forward to having you on a future broadcast. And
Thanks for having me, John.
Have a great trip out to WBC.
All right. Cool.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you on the 2 weeks. We'll see you in 2 weeks after WBC. Bye-bye, everybody.